There are moments when the world grows so loud, you begin to think God has gone silent. Yet the truth is the opposite. The divine voice is not missing. It is hidden beneath the noise. And those chosen to hear, it must learn to step into stillness. In the Shaolin temple, we were taught that silence is not emptiness. It is the gate. When you quiet the mind, when you let the restless thoughts fall away, something begins to move within you. A whisper, a pull, a message that feels as though it was carved only for you. This is how God speaks, direct but never in chaos, always in calm. In this teaching, I will guide you through what it truly means to be chosen. Not in the way the world explains it, with titles or fame, but in the way that is hidden, discipline forged through solitude, strength built through humility, clarity uncovered through struggle. You will learn why silence is more powerful than speech, why walking alone is not weakness but preparation, and why the fire of virtue is the only strength worth carrying. There are stories most do not know, of masters who endured years of stillness before one word was spoken, of seekers who found answers not in visions of light, but in the discipline of every breath. These truths are not loud, yet they burn deeper than thunder. And if you follow me until the end, you will leave with more than knowledge. You will leave with the keys to hearing God's voice for yourself. Welcome, chosen ones, to Shaolin Soulfire. If you feel this message already stirring something inside, join our path. Subscribe now and walk with us into the fire of self-mastery. Many people move through life as if in a dream, eyes open yet blind, breathing yet unaware of the breath, walking yet never feeling the ground beneath their feet. To be chosen is not to escape this world, it is to wake up inside it. In the temple, my master would strike the wooden floor with his staff and say, "Are you here or are you lost?" At first I did not understand. Of course I was there. I could hear his voice, see his face. But the truth is different. Presence is not the same as awareness. My body was standing in the hall, but my mind was wandering in the past, in the future, in worries that had no life. That is not being awake. Awareness begins with something so simple it is often overlooked: the breath. When you draw it in, feel it as life entering. When you release it, feel it as life flowing out. This is the first ground. Then the body, notice the weight of your steps, the tension in your shoulders, the quiet signals your body gives, but you rarely answer. Finally, the surroundings, the sound of wind outside the window, the warmth of light on your skin, the space you occupy in this very moment. This is not an exercise, it is a gate. The more you notice, the more you return, and the more you return, the more awake you become. Only from this state does divine guidance flow in. God does not enter a crowded mind. His message needs space, and awareness is the clearing. To be chosen is not a title someone gives you. It is the moment you awaken fully, breath by breath, step by step, into the reality that has always been waiting for you. The chosen path has never been a road of comfort. It is narrow, demanding, and often lonely. Yet this is what makes it sacred. Discipline is the seal of readiness, the sign that you are prepared to carry the weight of what others cannot. In the monastery, discipline was not forced upon us with punishment. It was carved into us through repetition. Day after day before sunrise, we practiced the same forms. Our legs burned, our arms trembled, our breath grew heavy. To an outsider, it may have looked meaningless. Why repeat the same movements thousands of times? But within those repetitions, something invisible was being shaped. The body was trained, yes, but more importantly, the mind was anchored. Discipline is not about proving strength to the world. It is about proving steadiness to yourself. Each small act, whether it is rising with the dawn, bowing before training, or taking a slow, mindful breath, becomes a thread that weaves a stronger spirit. Over time, these threads form a net strong enough to hold the weight of divine instruction. When God speaks, the words are not light. They do not come as decoration. They arrive as responsibility, as burden, as fire. Without discipline, the heart shakes and the message slips away. With discipline, the heart is steady, like a vessel that can contain even the fiercest flame. The ancients understood this well. The sage is not measured by what he knows, but by what he practices each day. The chosen one does not wait for grand moments. He prepares through countless small ones, and when the voice finally comes, it does not break him. It finds him ready, trained, steady, and capable of carrying it forward. There are times when the message you seek will never arrive as words. Instead, it comes as a stirring in the chest, a sudden clarity that feels as if it came from nowhere. You meet someone at the exact moment they are needed in your journey. You sense danger before it shows itself. You know what must be done without reasoning it out. This is not accident. It is the language of no mind. In the Shaolin tradition, no mind is not emptiness. It is the purest awareness, free of clutter. When the mind is crowded with endless thoughts, you cannot hear what lies beneath them. But when the surface becomes still, like a calm pond, the deeper truth reflects itself clearly. The nudge you feel, the synchronicity that startles you, the knowing that cannot be explained, these are ripples of divine guidance moving through a mind that has been quieted. Once during meditation, I was told simply to watch the flame of a candle. Hours passed and nothing appeared. My thoughts wandered. I grew restless, but in the moment I released the need to understand. I felt it, a shift, a deep alignment, as if the flame was breathing with me. Nothing was said, yet everything was understood. This is how no mind reveals its teaching. Logic is a tool, but it is limited. Intuition, born of silence and presence, rises higher. It connects you to something vast, something beyond calculation. To trust it requires courage, for the world honors reasoning but doubts the unseen. Yet those who walk the chosen path know that the deepest truths are not explained, they are experienced. And the voice that guides them is often not heard with ears but felt in the stillness of the soul. To walk the path of the chosen is to walk into solitude, not because you sought it, but because few can understand the weight you carry. Friends may drift, family may question, the world may look at you with doubt. In those moments, it is easy to believe you have been abandoned. Yet solitude is not emptiness. It is the forge where the spirit is refined. In the old Shaolin halls, there were chambers where monks sat alone for days, sometimes weeks, with nothing but silence as their companion. Many who entered struggled, restless and uneasy. But those who endured discovered something powerful. When the noise of others fell away, the true self began to speak. Solitude stripped away distraction and revealed both weakness and hidden strength. Stillness sharpens. Think of a blade. It is not forged in comfort, but in fire, in pressure, in moments of striking and waiting. The same is true of the chosen. In the quiet, you confront yourself without escape. You meet your fears, your desires, your shadows, and by facing them, you become clear, steady, unshakable. The world often mistakes solitude for loneliness, yet there is a vast difference. Loneliness is emptiness that longs for filling. Solitude is fullness that does not need to be filled. When you can sit in silence and feel whole, you are no longer waiting for the world to complete you. You are prepared to step into it with strength. So when you feel misunderstood, when your path feels narrow and quiet, do not resist it. See it as the training ground. In stillness, the rough edges are smooth, the purpose is revealed, and the spirit is honed like steel. Solitude is not exile. It is preparation for the task only you can fulfill. Pain often feels like a closed door, a barrier meant to keep us out. Yet in truth, it is a mirror. Every setback, every difficulty reflects something within us that we have not yet seen. To meet resistance is not to be punished, it is to be shown. God speaks through the very weight that presses against us. In training, the body meets this lesson first. A monk strikes the wooden dummy 1,000 times, and the arms swell with bruises. The beginner curses the pain, thinking it is failure. But the master smiles, because he knows the bruises are the mirror. They reveal where the technique is weak, where the body is tense, where the spirit has not yet surrendered. Without the resistance of the wood, the flaws would remain hidden. Life is no different. When you face betrayal, anger, or loss, these are not random storms. They are mirrors held up to your heart. Betrayal reveals where trust is shallow or misplaced. Anger uncovers the attachment beneath it. Loss exposes the depth of your clinging. What feels like breaking is often the shaping of your spirit. The ancients taught that resistance is a teacher more faithful than comfort. Comfort hides truth. Resistance exposes it. Each obstacle whispers, "Here is where you must grow." The choice is whether to turn away in bitterness or to step closer and listen. God's messages do not always come as gentle encouragement. Sometimes they arrive as a war you cannot avoid, as a weight you cannot escape. To resist it is to miss the lesson. To face it is to see yourself clearly. And in that clarity, strength and wisdom are born. The mirror does not punish, it reveals, so you may rise beyond what you were. True strength has never been measured by how much you can take from the world, but by how much you can give without losing balance. The Shaolin way is not about standing above others. It is about standing firmly enough within yourself to serve them. To be chosen is not to rise as a ruler. It is to bow as a servant. In the temple, young disciples often entered with pride. They wanted to master combat, to strike harder, to move faster, but the masters reminded them, a clenched fist can destroy, an open hand can heal. Every skill, every form, every hour of discipline was meaningless if it was used only for dominance. Power without humility is corruption, but power guided by humility becomes light. Responsibility is the true mark of the chosen. When you carry wisdom, you carry the duty to use it wisely. When you hold strength, you hold the duty to protect, not oppress. The higher the gift, the greater the weight of responsibility. This is why humility is not weakness. It is the shield that keeps strength pure. Think of water flowing down a mountain. It does not boast of its path. It bends, it yields, it nourishes everything it touches, yet nothing can stop it from reaching the ocean. Humility is like this water, gentle in movement, unstoppable in purpose. The ancients saw the danger of pride clearly. Pride blinds the chosen, turning them into tyrants of their own gifts. Humility, on the other hand, keeps the vessel empty enough to be filled again and again with wisdom. To walk with humility is to remain teachable, to remain open, to remain aligned with something higher than yourself. Only then can strength serve rather than corrupt. Mastery does not begin with conquering others. It begins with conquering yourself. The greatest battles are fought not on fields of war, but within the mind and heart. Your impulses, your emotions, your reactions, these are the forces that, if left unchecked, will rule over you. To command them is the highest form of strength. In Shaolin training, there were moments designed to provoke. A harsh word from a master, an unexpected strike during practice, long hours of hunger and fatigue. These were not punishments. They were mirrors of the mind. When anger rose, when impatience burned, when despair whispered, the lesson was clear. If you cannot rule these storms within, you cannot walk the path with clarity. To master oneself does not mean to suppress emotion. Anger, sadness, fear, they are natural. But mastery is the space between feeling and action. It is the breath that pauses before the outburst. It is the awareness that notices the rising flame and chooses whether to feed it or let it pass. In that space, freedom is found. The sages taught that one who commands armies but not himself is already defeated, but one who governs his own mind stands unshaken, even in chaos. Such a person becomes a vessel strong enough to carry divine instruction. God's message is weighty, and only a steady heart can hold it without distortion. Self-mastery is not achieved in a single victory. It is forged through countless small moments, choosing patience when provoked, stillness when restless, compassion when wounded. Over time, the storms lose their grip, and when the storms no longer rule you, you walk with a power greater than force. You walk with the strength to receive and to carry what comes from above. Discipline alone can sharpen a man into stone, but without virtue, that sharpness cuts blindly. Presence alone can steady the mind, but without compassion, it becomes hollow, an empty mirror reflecting nothing of worth. True mastery requires more than skill or stillness. It requires the living embodiment of values that give those qualities meaning. In the old Shaolin halls, discipline was fierce. Hours of training, endless repetition, silence that stretched through the nights. But alongside the strength of the body, the masters wove another teaching: kindness in every action, a bow before sparring, patience with a struggling brother, honor in both victory and defeat. Without these, the training would have created warriors, but never sages. Honor guides the chosen to act with integrity, even when unseen. Patience allows them to endure the long road without bitterness. Kindness softens strength, transforming power into protection rather than destruction. These values are not decoration, they are the breath that keeps discipline alive, the warmth that gives presence meaning. The world is filled with those who are skilled yet ruthless, present yet indifferent. They may achieve success, but they cannot carry divine truth, for truth demands a heart that reflects its light. God's message is not meant to be repeated like words on a page. It is meant to be lived. Only when discipline is guided by virtue, only when presence is infused with compassion, does the chosen truly embody the teaching. Virtue turns strength into service, patience into wisdom, kindness into healing. This is the path where the message is not just heard by the ears, but seen in the life itself. And in this way, the chosen become living proof that divine guidance is not abstract, it breathes through them. There comes a moment when silence breaks, when the whisper within is no longer a question but a command. You recognize it instantly, the pull is unmistakable, yet knowing is not the end. Hearing alone changes nothing. Action is the true proof of faith. In the temple there was a saying, "A step not taken is a path never walked." Many disciples could recite teachings, repeat forms, even sit in deep meditation. But when asked to rise, to lift the teaching beyond the walls, hesitation held them back. Knowledge without action is like a blade kept sheathed. It carries potential but never cuts through the fabric of life. Courage is the bridge between the divine and the human. It is the moment you rise when fear tells you to sit. It is speaking truth when silence feels safer. It is walking forward when the path looks uncertain. Without courage, the message you received begins to fade, buried under doubt and delay. The ancients honored courage not as recklessness, but as alignment with what is higher. To act with courage is to trust that the voice which called you will also sustain you. It is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move even while fear lingers. Every chosen one must face this test. The divine does not give instructions as decoration. They are meant to be lived, embodied, carried into the world. To hear without acting is to waste the gift. To act with courage is to allow heaven's voice to take form on earth. And in that moment, the unseen becomes visible, and the message entrusted to you becomes a living reality. The path of the chosen is not marked by signs in the sky or grand voices from above. It is marked by the quiet strength you build each day, the discipline of your breath, the patience in your steps, the humility in your choices. Struggle becomes your teacher, solitude your forge, and virtue your light. God's voice is not distant. It speaks in the stillness of your own being, reminding you of who you are and what you are meant to carry. So let these words not remain as thoughts, but as practice. Meet your obstacles with awareness, meet your silence with courage, and meet each day with the discipline to live what you already know inside. In this way, the message does not just touch your ears, it shapes your life. May you walk gently, may your heart remain steady, and may your spirit grow strong in the quiet fire of truth. If this teaching has spoken to you, support our journey by liking this video and subscribing to our channel, Shaolin Soulfire. Together, we continue to train the mind, strengthen the spirit, and keep the flame alive.